Welcome back to Chronicle of Conflict. Westeros, a continent forged in fire and frozen in ice. It is a land of legends, where the sky was once darkened by the wings of dragons, and the earth trembles under the march of armies. But beyond the magic and the monsters, this is a story of people. It is a chessboard where the players are the great houses, moving their pawns in a deadly dance for the Iron Throne. We often speak of the Starks, the wolves of the North, stoic and honorable. We speak of the Lannisters, the lions of the West, golden and ruthless. But the tapestry of the Seven Kingdoms is woven with more threads than just gold and gray. Today, in this extensive journey, we will descend into the histories of 5 other titans. We will stand amidst the gales of Shipbreaker Bay with the Lords of the Storm. We will climb the Giant's Lance to the impregnable Eyrie. We will sail the iron-gray seas with the Reavers of the Kraken. We will cross the burning sands of Dorne to the Spear Tower. And we will walk the lush gardens of the Reach, where roses hide sharp thorns. Baratheon, Arryn, Greyjoy, Martell, Tyrell. Their histories are written in blood, betrayal, and ambition. Their decisions have shaped the fate of millions. So pour yourself a drink, perhaps a Dornish Red or an Arbor Gold. Put on your headphones. Close your eyes. Let us walk the path of history together. House Baratheon, the fury of the storm. We begin in the Stormlands. Here, the weather is as volatile as the temper of its lords. This is the domain of House Baratheon of Storm's End. Their sigil, a crowned black stag on a field of gold. Their words, ours is the fury. Unlike other great houses that trace their lineage back thousands of years to the age of heroes, House Baratheon is relatively young. It was born in the fire of Aegon's conquest. The founder, Orys Baratheon, was Aegon the Conqueror's fiercest general, and rumor has it, his bastard half-brother. When Aegon looked to conquer the Stormlands, it was Orys who faced Argilac the Arrogant, the last Storm King. Orys slew the king in single combat, but he did not erase the legacy of his enemy. Instead, he married Argilac's daughter, Argella Durrandon. He took her house's sigil, he took their castle, and he took their words. Thus, the Baratheon line is a fusion of the dragon's blood of Valyria and the warrior spirit of the ancient Storm Kings. For nearly 300 years, they were loyal to the Targaryens. But the defining moment of this house came with Robert's rebellion. When Prince Rhaegar Targaryen disappeared with Lyanna Stark, Robert's betrothed, the fury of House Baratheon was unleashed. Robert was a force of nature, 6.5 feet tall, muscled like a maiden's fantasy, wielding a warhammer so heavy that ordinary men could barely lift it. At the Battle of the Trident, Robert didn't just defeat Rhaegar, he crushed the chest of the Dragon Prince, scattering rubies into the river water. He seized the Iron Throne, ending a dynasty that had ruled for 3 centuries. But victory was the beginning of the end for House Baratheon. As king, Robert was a disaster. He ate, he drank, he whored, and he ignored the realm. But the true tragedy of House Baratheon lies in its division. Following the rebellion, the house split into 3 branches. Robert ruled from King's Landing. He gave the ancestral seat of Storm's End to his youngest brother, Renly, a charismatic, handsome man who loved the pageantry of court. And to his middle brother, Stannis, a man made of iron, hard and brittle, he gave the gloomy island of Dragonstone. This division sowed the seeds of destruction. In a Game of Thrones, Robert dies, gored by a boar, a fitting end for a man who lived by the hunt. But his death revealed a rot at the heart of the kingdom. Stannis Baratheon discovered the truth. Joffrey, Tommen, and Myrcella were not Baratheons. They were pure-blood Lannisters, born of incest between Queen Cersei and her brother Jaime. By all the laws of gods and men, Stannis was the rightful king, but charisma matters in the Game of Thrones. In a clash of kings, the younger brother, Renly, declared himself king. He had no claim, but he had the love of the people and the swords of House Tyrell. This led to one of the darkest moments in Westerosi history. Brother against brother. Stannis, guided by the Red Priestess Melisandre, besieged Storm's End. But he did not win with swords. He won with shadow. A dark assassin, birthed from magic, entered Renly's tent and slew him. The fury of House Baratheon turned inward. Stannis absorbed Renly's forces, but he was ultimately defeated at the Battle of the Blackwater by the combined might of the Lannisters and Tyrells. Broken but unbowed, Stannis sailed north to the Wall. He remains the only king who cared to protect the realm from the true threat in the north. But the cost was high. House Baratheon, once the strongest house in the realm, is now scattered, its bloodline thinning, its brothers dead or exiled. They teach us a brutal lesson. Strength without unity is nothing but dust in the wind. House Arryn, honor above all, let us leave the storm-lashed coast and look upward, to the mountains of the moon, to the Vale. Here rules House Arryn. Their seat is the Eyrie, a castle perched atop the giant's lance, thousands of feet in the air. It is considered impregnable. Their sigil, the moon and falcon. Their words, as high as honor. The Arryns boast the purest Andal bloodlines in Westeros. For thousands of years, they were the kings of mountain and vale. History tells us they have only been conquered once, not by armies marching up the mountain, but by Visenya Targaryen flying her dragon, Vhagar, directly into their courtyard. The boy king Ronel Arryn surrendered in exchange for a ride on the dragon. In recent history, one man defines this house, Lord Jon Arryn. Jon Arryn was the moral compass of Westeros. He was the foster father to both Ned Stark and Robert Baratheon. When the Mad King Aerys demanded he send the heads of his foster sons, Jon Arryn did what no one expected. He refused. He raised his banners in rebellion. It was Jon Arryn's wisdom that forged the alliances that won the war. It was Jon Arryn who ruled the realm as Hand of the King, while Robert drank and hunted. But in the Game of Thrones, honor is often a death sentence. The events of A Song of Ice and Fire begin with Jon Arryn's death. It was sudden. It was suspicious. His widow, Lysa Arryn, sister to Catelyn Stark, fled immediately to the Eyrie with her sickly son, Robert Arryn. Lysa sent a letter to Winterfell, a letter that started the war. She claimed the Lannisters poisoned her husband. We believed her. The Starks believed her. But in A Storm of Swords, the veil is lifted, revealing a truth far more twisted. Jon Arryn wasn't killed by Cersei or Jaime. He was killed by Lysa herself. Driven by a maddening, obsessive love for Petyr Baelish, Littlefinger, Lysa poisoned her husband's wine at Littlefinger's command. She framed the Lannisters to incite chaos, just as Littlefinger planned. Under Lysa's regency, House Arryn became a symbol of isolationism. While the Riverlands burned and her nephew Robb Stark fought for his life, Lysa kept the Knights of the Vale locked behind the bloody gate. She chose safety over family duty. Her end was poetic justice. In the high hall of the Eyrie, standing before the moon door, a hatch that opens to a 1,000-foot drop, she threatened Sansa Stark in a fit of jealous rage. Petyr Baelish intervened. He calmed her, held her close, and whispered, "I have only ever loved one woman, only Cat, and then he shoved her. House Aaron, the bastion of honor, is now ruled by a sickly boy lord and manipulated by the most devious man in the 7 kingdoms. The falcon still flies high, but its wings are clipped by lies. House Greyjoy. We do not sow now, we turn away from the light. We go to the Iron Islands, a cluster of bleak, rocky islands off the western coast. This is the home of House Greyjoy. Their sigil, a golden kraken on a black field. Their words, we do not sow. The Ironborn are different. They do not farm. They do not trade in the traditional sense. They pay the iron price. They take what they want. They reave, they raid, they pillage. They worship the drowned god, a deity who dwells beneath the waves. House Greyjoy claims descent from the Grey King, a legendary figure who took a mermaid to wife and slew the sea dragon Naga. In living memory, the Greyjoys are defined by rebellion. Lord Balon Greyjoy, a man who wished to return to the old way, declared himself king of the Iron Islands shortly after Robert took the throne. He burned the Lannister fleet at anchor, but he underestimated the unified realm. Stannis Baratheon smashed the Iron Fleet at sea. Robert and Ned Stark breached the walls of Pike. Balon was forced to bend the knee. His 2 eldest sons were killed. His last son, Theon, was taken hostage to Winterfell. This brings us to the tragedy of Theon Greyjoy. In a clash of kings, Robb Stark sends Theon home to ask for his father's ships. Theon expects a hero's welcome. Instead, Balon mocks him. Balon rejects the alliance. We do not sow, he says. He will not be given a crown. He will take it. Balon invades the north while Robb's armies are south. And Theon, poor, conflicted Theon, he chooses his blood over his honor. He betrays the Starks. He seizes Winterfell. But the Ironborn are raiders, not holders. Theon is betrayed by his own men and captured by Ramsay Snow. In the dungeons of the Dreadfort, Theon Greyjoy dies, and the creature Reek is born through torture and mutilation. It is a harrowing descent for a young man who only wanted to be loved by a father who cared nothing for him. Meanwhile, on the Iron Islands, Balon Greyjoy meets his end, falling from a bridge during a storm. Some say it was an accident. Others whisper of a faceless man. His death triggers the Kingsmoot, a sacred ceremony to choose a new king. And from the horizon comes the storm itself. Euron Greyjoy. Euron Crow's Eye. He is not just a pirate. He is a monster. He claims to have sailed the smoking sea of Valyria. He possesses a horn that can bind dragons to his will. At the Kingsmoot, he promises the Ironborn not just rocks and salt, but the whole world. I am the storm, my lord, he says, the first storm and the last. Under Euron, House Greyjoy is no longer just a nuisance. They are an apocalyptic threat, aiming to seize Daenerys Targaryen's dragons and burn the world to ash. House Martell, unbowed, unbent, unbroken. From the cold salt spray, we travel to the heat of the deep south, to Dorne, to Sunspear. This is the domain of House Nymeros Martell. Their sigil, a gold spear piercing a red sun. Their words, unbowed, unbent, unbroken. These words are not a boast. They are a historical fact. When Aegon the Conqueror burned the rest of Westeros into submission, Dorne stood alone. They refused to fight in open fields. They hid in the mountains and the deserts. They shot down a dragon, Meraxes, and killed Queen Rhaenys. Dorne was never conquered. They joined the 7 kingdoms by marriage nearly 2 centuries later. The Martells are passionate, fiery, and they follow Rhoynar customs. In Dorne, a daughter can rule as well as a son. They are free in ways the rest of Westeros is not. But in the modern era, The Martells are driven by one thing: vengeance. During Robert's rebellion, Elia Martell, sister to the ruling Prince Doran, was married to Rhaegar Targaryen. When King's Landing fell to the Lannisters, Tywin Lannister's mad dog, Sir Gregor Clegane, the Mountain, raped Elia and murdered her and her children. This act created a blood feud that defines House Martell. In a storm of swords, we meet the Red Viper, Prince Oberyn Martell. He arrives in King's Landing not to celebrate, but to kill. He volunteers to be Tyrion Lannister's champion in a trial by combat against the Mountain. It is one of the most electric moments in the saga. Oberyn dances around the giant. His spear, coated in manticore venom, finds its mark. He brings the Mountain down. He demands a confession. "You raped her. You murdered her. You killed her children." But arrogance is a fatal flaw. In his moment of triumph, Oberyn gets too close. The Mountain crushes him. The Red Viper dies, his head smashed on the stone. Dorne screams for war. But Prince Doran Martell, the older brother, is not like Oberyn. He is crippled by gout, sitting in his wheelchair, watching the water gardens. His people think he is weak. His own daughter, Arianne, thinks he is a coward. But in a feast for crows, Doran reveals his hand. He is not weak. He is patient. He tells Arianne the truth. "I have worked at the downfall of Tywin Lannister since the day they told me of Aelia." Doran plays the long game. He reveals a secret pact. He sent his son Quentyn to the east to find Daenerys Targaryen, to marry her and bring her dragons to Dorne. Fire and blood. That is what Doran desires. House Martell is the grass that hides the viper, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. House Tyrell, growing strong. Finally, we come to the heart of chivalry, the Reach, the most fertile land in the realm, Highgarden. This is the seat of House Tyrell. Their sigil, a golden rose on a green field. Their words, growing strong. Do not let the pretty flowers fool you. House Tyrell is the second wealthiest family in Westeros, and they command the largest army. While the Starks fight with honor and the Lannisters with gold, the Tyrells fight with something far more subtle: pragmatism. Historically, they were merely stewards to the Gardener kings, but when the Gardeners were burned alive by Aegon on the Field of Fire, Harlan Tyrell simply opened the gates of Highgarden and surrendered. For this, Aegon made them lords paramount. They won by knowing when to kneel. In the War of the Five Kings, the Tyrells are the ultimate opportunists. First, they backed Renly Baratheon, marrying Margaery to him. When Renly died, did they weep? No. They immediately pivoted. Littlefinger brokered an alliance between Highgarden and Casterly Rock. Margaery would marry Joffrey. The Tyrells arrived at the Battle of the Blackwater just in time to save the Lannisters. They became the saviors of the city. They brought food to the starving populace, winning the love of the small folk, something Cersei Lannister never understood. But the true power of Highgarden is not Mace Tyrell, the bumbling lord. It is his mother, Olenna Tyrell, the Queen of Thorns. Olenna is a master player. She saw Joffrey for what he was, a monster who would hurt her granddaughter. And so, at the purple wedding, amidst the doves and the pie, Olenna struck. With a poisoned stone from Sansa Stark's hairnet, she ended the reign of Joffrey Baratheon. She did what armies could not. She killed a king in full view of his guards, and no one suspected a thing. Following this, Margaery marries Tommen. The Tyrells slowly begin to usurp the Lannisters' power, not with swords, but with smiles and soft words. But they met a fierce enemy in Cersei. In a feast for crows, Cersei arms the faith militant to destroy Margaery. but the rose has thorns. Cersei's plot backfires, leading to the downfall of both queens. House Tyrell teaches us that in the Game of Thrones, soft power is just as deadly as steel. You can win a war without ever drawing a sword, as long as your poison is potent enough. Conclusion. The winds of winter. 5 great houses. 5 different philosophies. The Baratheons, broken by their own fury. The Arryns, isolated by paranoia. The Greyjoys, drowning in their own ambition. The Martells, waiting too long for vengeance. And the Tyrells, climbing a ladder made of thorns. As we look toward the future, toward the winds of winter, the board is set for the final act. Stannis freezes in the north. Euron summons Krakens in the south. Doran's plans are unraveling, and the Tyrells are locked in a death grip with the Lannisters. They have all played the Game of Thrones. Some have won, some have died. But while they fight for a chair made of swords, the true enemy waits beyond the wall, and the dead do not care about house words. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the lore of Westeros. This has been Chronicle of Conflict. If you enjoyed this deep dive, please leave a like and share this story with your fellow bannermen. Do not forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. After all, the night is dark and full of terrors, and you won't want to miss our next guide to the light. Which house do you pledge your allegiance to? Tell us in the comments below. Until next time, Valor Morgulis.